Hello there, guys. Oh, that got out of focus. Boom. Electro. And it's still out of focus. Haha. There we go. Finally. What's up, guys? So today, gonna be, instead of beating on the backlog, I'm just trying to knock out miniatures so they don't get added to the backlog in question, I guess. So we're going to be working on Electro and his base coats. I cheated a little bit in two areas, as you can probably tell. One, he's got a little bit of yellow on his body already. And the main reason for that is these lightning bolts, prior to this, were also like 20 different colors. That's not quite true. But there was a solid 15 or so combinations of things, like, hey, what base coat thing do I want? Do I want to do a glaze? Do I want to use a I guess Too Thin Coats calls them the bright line, but they're also just kind of like a fluorescent yellow. What does it look? How does it look over gray? How does it look over white? And the other thing I wanted to make sure I checked in on was to make sure the yellow on the suit was going to be a very noticeably different yellow than the electricity itself. I thought that was going to be an important thing. And honestly, like, the yellow back here makes this almost look orange. And obviously it's going to get highlighted up to a much more reasonable color. But yeah, so this is Electro, and we're just going to be going through base coats. And as you kind of see here off to, let's see, can I, right there, that guy. I'm going to be doing a lot more black on Electro's costume than AMG's all green, yellow with a little, like, the black hood kind of a thing. To give him a little bit more of a modern vibe, where it's not just the yellow and green spandex kind of a thing. Something that pushes it a little bit while still keeps all of the classic things. So I'm not doing like any heavy modifications of the shoulder pads, or the mask itself is still staying the same. And the mask is the other place I went ahead and cheated just a little bit. Let's go ahead and get this down. And if somebody asks what I'm doing, I can bring it back. Went ahead and did the eyes, because the eyes are not something that I can really... I do not have the ability to show on stream, getting in there. But how I did it, just for those who want to know, you paint the eyes black, you go in with a little bit of white, and then I used a yellow glaze, and like maybe 3 or 4 layers of it, just slowly building that white up to a really nice yellow. And then you go in, you clean up the black, and then around the mask where there was absolutely some black overspill, I went back with, I ended up highlighting, or zenithal highlighting, with a light gray over the initial black. So I just went back with that color and touched up the edges of the mask. And then the lightning I went through with just a pure white, and while it's probably the very last thing we're going to do, I think I'm going to end up going with the bright from Too Thin Coats, which is also just kind of like a fluorescent from other lines, or if you can get a good yellow for that. Otherwise, yeah, I'm just going to be going through doing some base coats. The one exception to that is the face. Skin tones, I've noticed I hardly ever actually keep any of that initial base color. It just doesn't really seem to make its way onto the final model, and it's important to me in my time and everything else that, like, if I'm putting in an entire base layer, like, it needs to have a purpose. Like the white here for the lightning bolts, it's because for the fluorescence and or glazes that I attempted up here, you need that brighter tone to really make that paint do the most of its work. And so for the flesh tone, I'm going to be just starting off with a combination of the Barbarian Brawn with a probably 50-50 mix with the Dwarven Skin, which is the next step up in that triad of colors. Just for example, like Captain America here, you cannot see any Barbarian Brawn. And his flesh tones I went a little bit crazier, like I added a little bit of pink into the mix for the lips, a little bit of purple for the cheeks. Not that you can necessarily tell it. But like, yeah, there's no Barbarian Brawn there. Yes, Swedish Troll. I actually made a joke. I was on House Party Protocol with Will talking about Electro, and when we were talking about the sculpt, I was like, man, Storm kind of like hovered so that Electro could fly. Yeah, I don't know how to like really like other than like the little plastic bit up there. Electro himself is on there really nice. He's got 3 different connection points, both of his feet as well as the bolt that's kind of crossing across the butt there, but makes him super stable. Skin start pink or reddish. Yeah, I don't glaze though. I probably need to learn how to glaze more efficiently, especially when it comes to things that you want to smooth out, like the skin tones and stuff. Uh, it's a good idea, and if I start doing that, maybe I'll go back to that just like pure, really dark flesh tone as the base coat. Last thing I don't want to do before I start off, and kind of to my point, here is good old Scarlet Spider. And you can see, like in the recesses of the armpit there, and in between some of his ridiculously shaped muscles, absolutely kept some of that like actual darkest tone to really help highlight the brighter parts, because it's all about that contrast and stuff. So, with that, I guess I might as well. There is indeed an alternate head. I do not have it on me, unfortunately. It's been somewhere. But it is just a very average, like, bald head, kind of a head. Last thing I want to show off, in case you haven't seen it, is Gwynnm ended up looking pretty good with the purple. So that was a solid suggestion last week. I highly appreciated the challenge of it. I originally was going to try to do this on stream to do the purple, and then realized I had no idea how I was going to try to highlight it, let alone my skills of trying to highlight on stream, so she turned out real cool. With that, as with any base coating I'm doing, I always try to work my way up the model. So we are going to start with the green, which I'm going to do just in his chest area, the back area, and then basically on the arms after the shoulder, there's kind of a nice clear definition on both sides where the shoulder has a break into the actual arm. I'm going to do those green as well, and then have his hands just be the normal yellow gloves that he seems to just kind of be. The sides of the chest and back, as well as the shoulders, black, along with his mask hood and his legs all in black, keeping the classic yellow boots. Let's see. I guess pull that up one more time. So yeah, it's pretty much like this, minus the metal shoulder pads and chin strap and other stuff going on there. All right. For this first layer of green, we're going to be using Wyvern Green from Tooth and Coats, who I just found out have late pledges open for their 3rd wave of paints, so I need to go and jump on that, because I still really like the Triad system. I really like what I have gotten out of some of the Monument Hobbies paints as well. But the Triad system is just so nice and clean, and the paints are still actually really good. They're not quite as smooth as what Pro Kill offers straight out of the bottle, but with a little bit of thinning and patience, you can definitely get there. And then just having access to their range of technical paints and stuff like the glazes and other stuff is really nice. So, just gonna get in here. And I don't care if I'm too messy around the yellow at this point. I'll be a little bit more careful with the black, probably. Let's see. Get them up a little bit higher. Because the green will be able... The yellow will go over the green a little bit easier. But black is a different story. Black, you gotta make sure you get like an extra 3 coats on there instead of just the typical 2. And I cheated with the yellow anyway, so it is only fair that we have to go back and do some of it. So I know my answer to this, but I'll ask you guys. Of the new Spider Foes coming out, is there a particular character that you guys are excited to either paint, play, etc., and just get some time with on the table? Because for me, it's this guy. He speaks to all of the play styles I enjoy, where you get some sort of turn one gameplay boosting going off, whether that is with Steve Rogers and his discount to allow people to pop off round one a little bit, or even just Professor X more recently, are some of my absolute go-to strategies that I really enjoy. So about that cutoff point for the green back there, right? Thank you, Clyde. I'm glad somebody else is willing to jump in on with me with all the electricity jokes. It's gonna be really bad this Friday because it's I'm gonna do a review of both Electro and Shocker, and so like it's just gonna be so much cringe annoyance for those who cannot stand the all the electric jokes that are gonna be going down. As well, I'm not going to mind hitting the electric parts during this. I actually originally went in and highlighted them with the white, mostly just so I knew what was the electricity and what was not, because I absolutely did not realize that that was his thumb at first. Let's see if I can actually catch. Yeah, that little bit right there. Did not realize that was his thumb. I thought it was just another little leap of electricity, so this is the reason to go in and pick out stuff like that sometimes. And this green is definitely going to need a second coat. Maybe thinned it out a little bit too much, but at the same time, going back and punching those colors in a little bit more is never going to hurt. Especially, we want a really nice vibrant green for the few places that we're going to have access to it. Since we're limiting the green quite a bit to help rein in the cartoony nature of the costume. Which again, on its own, not a bad thing. But I also love the idea of modernizing the characters just a little bit. Another perk of not minding treating your base coats as like no way that the overlap can happen is even if you then go back on, so like for yellow in this case, if I miss a little bit of yellow on the inside of the pattern on his back here, because there's definitely a little raised edge that's going to need a little bit of yellow, by doing it this way and not minding the eventual crossing over, you also then don't have to worry about having little gray spots that you have to go back in and try to touch up just right once all the other colors are laid in spot in place. Let's see. So somewhere in there I'm probably going to have to figure out where the rest of this lightning bolt is supposed to go. I guess it goes all the way down to the glove. So we'll just have to go back and make sure that we get the full coverage of yellow on that. Which again, not a big issue. We're aware of it. Alright, and then we're just going to go back, hit that all with a second layer, which, if this was a video, would be the time where I just come back and be like, aha! Here is the finished result of that second layer. You don't have to watch me do the exact same thing again. Unfortunately for all of us, I do not have a time skip button that just lets me skip all that work. Would be cool, though. Would not complain. Let's see. Corey, you going to be gaming this week? Yeah, so this is a really nice green once it gets that second layer on. Great spot to highlight up from. Which, like a lot of colors, I'm really usually just good, especially on the base coats, for a one and done, because so much of it is going to end up getting overlapped anyway. But this green just does so well with that second layer on it that almost looks black in this, but it's just a really nice dark green. I pinky promise. All right. And there will eventually be plenty of touch-ups that need to be done as I come in to highlight and all that kind of stuff. But that is, for better or worse, just part of the process. Now let's see. So that's going to come up to there. Yep, I'm good with that. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and just do the flesh tone combination. Just going to take a dollop from that, a dollop from that, and we're just going to mix it up really good. It still comes out with a pretty dark skin tone that you could probably work with the glazing stuff, just doesn't have quite as much of a tan line to it right out the gate. I will try to avoid the teeth, so I can just come back in and probably try to knock out the teeth all in one fair go before highlight too much of the skin. Similar process to the eyes there, where you just want to get as much of the small stuff that when you're trying to go in and do the small brush work, it's very easy to mess up your bunch of other work that you've already put in. So Again, we're not going to mind just hitting a little bit of the edges of the mask to make sure that we don't have any awkward like white gray spots coming in, and then just slightly under the mask. I'm going to hit with that skin tone, and blammo. Didn't end up avoiding the mouth quite as much as I would have liked, but that's okay. Alright, and with that we're just going to go ahead and start doing all of the black sections, because yellow is ultimately the highest color for the boots, for the gloves, for the chest, and even the face. And for this, I am going to just go ahead and start off with a actual pure black, not like a really, really dark gray or something like that. I usually cheat somewhere along the lines and bring in a higher gray to start off with, just because the black is so dark that those initial highlights don't really read very well. But because there's going to be a decent amount of actual black left, I don't want to just go in and do shadows with it. And away we go. I think I was a little bit worried about just how much black there would be for the pants here, because I think it's Marvel Strike Force is where the other image comes from that I'm kind of basing what I'm doing off of. Has a little bit of yellow on the pants to help break it up, but I think this is going to work out just fine. That that 3-color combo. See, now the green looks actually green thanks to the extremely, well, black. Shocking how black can be a really dark color. Just go in here. And again, we don't mind hitting the lightning bolt a little bit. I know that I'm going to have to go back and before doing the final touches on that, it's going to have to be re-highlighted back up. But the contrast with the white also kind of helps sell what the end result is going to look like without needing to touch up what the actual end result's going to look like, because it gives that bright contrast of what the model is looking like versus what that yellow is going to look like, which is real nice and handy. Let's see, we got in there. We're kind of in the frame. So, something I'll ask those of you watching, what is a good audiobook specifically that you would recommend at the moment? I have just finished my probably like year long trek. Yeah, it was a full year before I was able to finish all four of the Stormlight Archive books that are currently out, which has left a little bit of a void in my life because those were so long I didn't even really pay attention to what's going to be next because that was like a solid, I don't know, 200 hours of my life listening to those books. No regrets, just it did take a while. So, always looking for new recommendations, good recommendations, especially for audiobooks because it's not just that like the book has to be good, but the person reading the book also has to be good, which is unfortunately not always the case. There are absolutely some books out there that I've just had to put down audio wise and either go in and read it myself at another point in time or just leave it gone, unfortunately. All right. Notorious for leaving some section of the underbody missed, especially on stream. But I think we got the pants locked in nicely there. Oh, see, there's a little. All right. And then we're just going to start at the top, work our way down. Just respecting the sculpt lines for where the mask ends and starts, kind of a thing. Because while there is going to be some inevitable cleanup, the less of it I have to do, the better. No book recommendations. People are monsters. I don't know. Do you guys do what do you do in your downtime when you're driving? Do you just listen to music? Do you have a podcast that you do instead of audiobooks? Or do you just sit with your thoughts in silence and contemplate like philosophers of old? I respect any and all of the above answers. '80s music. That's not a bad choice. Currently, my daughter 3-year-old, for the record, has been obsessed with John Denver's Take Me Home. Played it for her once, we all sang along in the car, and ever since, she has been obsessed with that, and she'll be coming around the mountain. So those are the songs that are pretty much perpetually on loop whenever we're in the car going to the grocery store or whatever that day's task may be. Those are the songs that are inescapable, along with classic VeggieTale things like Pirates Who Don't Do Anything, which I'm totally also fine with because VeggieTales are hilarious and crazy comedy songs that look like as a kid just enjoy it. It's fun. It's hilarious. But as an adult, I'm just kind of like, man, what were these guys on, or where do their minds go to think of some of the ideas that they did? All right. So at this point, we're starting to get at least an idea. Well, are we going to focus back up? We'll focus back up. There we go. And this black background really doesn't help. Let's see. Aha. Random box lid for the win. Oh, Pizza Angel. So yeah, I really like the black. Again, that green is just really dark, so it's not coming in as strongly. But once we start putting some highlights and stuff up there, should help sell this costume choice. So happy for that. Oh man, Pizza Angel was good. I think my top three though are, I mean, Hairbrush Song is kind of just, it's the Hairbrush Song, and it's iconic and all these other things, so it's known. Pirates Who Don't Do Anything. Oh man, now I'm just having trouble picking a third. This is Wyvern Green from Two Thin Coats. It is their darkest color of the green base triad. It's very similar to, what's it called? Caliban Green from Citadel's range. So it's going to highlight really nicely to that, like, not quite a full-blown yellow green, but it'll be on its way there, which is also exactly kind of what we want out of Electro. I'm showing off some electric colors. Want some real nice brightness. Where we're going to put the brightness, since we're adding a lot of dark also around it. Let's see. Cheeseburger's great. I'm trying to think of. I've decided what the third song is, probably at least my favorite of them, but I don't remember what it's called. It's the. I don't think it's called the Dancing Cucumber, but it's Larry's singing in Spanish and Bob is doing like translation work. And it just ensues in VeggieTale iconic stupidity and hilariousness as Larry just starts insulting Bob as he translates the insults for everybody else in the crowd. Alright. In hindsight, maybe could have done the black first. It's going to be a little bit harder to get to these underside sections. And then the green. Yellow would definitely still be the last color to hit. But it is coming along nicely, at least. Yes, it is indeed very hard to run with a sombrero on your head. I'm glad I am not alone in my, I don't want to call it overexposure, but yeah, overexposure to a lot of VeggieTale songs as of late. So I'm almost better off, instead of looking at the model when I'm painting, just looking off at the stream screen, because it is a slightly larger image. But I don't think I'm quite that well trained yet. Okay. Nice thing about black over gray, really not a need for two coats, aside from the little spots that I miss along the way that need to get touched up on. But otherwise, alright. Just gonna have to get in there and messy. Hopefully very soon, Corey. I believe the street date for these guys is the 17th. Which unfortunately does break away from their very... AMG was really good about getting these guys out the second Friday of a month very regularly for a while. But then Star Wars Unlimited came and changed everything. Alright, and with that... and some small little touch-ups on the black here and there. Gonna say that the black base coating is just about done. Also learning, since I'm right-handed, my camera pole, stand, arm is the correct word, being on the right side definitely limits my brush movement. So that's something that I think can be very easily changed. Not at this exact moment, but soon enough. Alright. And at this point, yeah, we're just getting impatient and hitting areas that we could avoid. Alright. Go in and hit some yellow. Oh my goodness. Classic video game orchestral music is not something I would have put on the 4-year-old bingo card. But at the same time, neither would have I thought my daughter would prefer Take Me Home Country Road so much that it was a request every single time we hit the car, so... I have a secret. I really enjoy the Spider Foes and what they do and all these other things. I've never played a game of Spider Foes, and the only Spider Foes that I have painted up until, I mean, Electro's, he's getting there. I got Lizard done, because I had enough other colors that I was kind of painting along the way that I got Lizard done. I got original Doc Ock done, because he was a core box character, and that's all we had for a little bit, so I got through all those. And all the symbiotes, because I enjoy the symbiotes, but otherwise had not touched Spider Foes. So with this box, and all of the awesome new Team Tactic cards, and everything else, yeah, I'm diving hard in on here, so I'll probably get Doc Ock 2 painted up as soon as I'm done with getting through all the new stuff, so I don't add anything to the backlog. I'll be able to return to beating the backlog as a series, and probably start off with that Doc Ock, because I love that leadership and what it brings. Green Goblin and his violent ways is great and cool, but avoiding some really key conditions while also having some really cool other synergies going on seems like a lot of fun. Also, I'm really excited to try Kraven. I've played him some with Shadowlands Daredevil, because that was a thing that I played for quite a while until I realized it was a better list than I had originally realized. Alright, so we're going to go in here with the yellow now and just start hitting everything. Be a little bit careful around the eyes, but we don't have to be too careful, thankfully. But because this is yellow, I am fully expecting to go back and do a second coat. But what I may do before I do the second coat is go ahead and touch up all of the other colors, and then go back and touch up the yellow one last time for the second layer, and also just knock out the highlighting all in one fell swoop. Because like the boot here is absolutely, there's going to be a little bit of mess up, touch up needed to go on here. Didn't show it. This paint is Dark Sun Yellow, also known as Averland Sunset, if you are more familiar with the GW range of acrylics. Duncan just basically was like, hey, all these colors that I know and used to work with a lot, let's just make them rebranded and easy to find triads. Put them in dropper bottles instead of the terrible little top things, and make a business out of it. Then, of course, his own infamous renown. Alright. So Electro is coming together nicely. I don't think you can really pop here, but the fact that the eyes are a little bit of a different yellow is also kind of fun. Don't think it's going to show up, and I would say only maybe 1 in 50 people that actually pick up this model to look at it will know that it's a different yellow, but it makes me happy, so I will take that small victory. Oh, we missed a very obvious section of black. Great. It was bound to happen. So just go in and start reestablishing all the yellow. And before I forget about it, I'm going to hit this thumb. And at this point, I'm just hopping all over this model. I will say, regardless of what bright color you're working with when it comes to like the yellows and whites, just make sure you thin that paint pretty nicely so that it doesn't get, for lack of a better word, crumbly on you, because that's absolutely something I've had experience with. Much rather have multiple thin coats to do than one thick coat when the paint can't really do it. Like, again, some reds and blues out there, even greens, sometimes you can get away with just one nice thick coat, but the less pigment you get, there's more likely to be issues. But I think this model is by far and away, I can't say by far and away, because Sandman is also a really cool sculpt. But I think Electro is my favorite sculpt, as well as just favorite character rules-wise out of this pack. He's going to be stupid fun teleporting up halfway up the board without even using an action. Because he's just going to ride the wires. And we're probably going to hit a little bit of a bolt there, but that's okay. One thing I am starting to wish I had done is paint this guy separate from all the lightning bolts, because I'm not doing any object source lighting on this model. It'd look really cool for the person who does do it, but no offense to Electro, and while he is the coolest sculpt and probably the model I'm most excited to play with out of this box, like, I'm not going to put the same level of details on his face that I did, like, Captain America, who to me at least, is a more important character. Which also comes back to something I talked a little bit about last week, and just kind of knowing what your expectations going into each model are. Because the ability to say, hey, really excited for this character and this sculpt, and so I want to spend a little bit extra time to make them pop even more than the other guy, is a very understandable thing. You do not need every model you paint to be the next best model. I recommend trying new things out every now and again from new model to new model. One, so that you don't get stuck in a kind of like repetitive cycle. But if you're wanting to grow as a hobbyist and a painter, you can't just keep doing the same thing and expect to grow, I guess. You can definitely get faster kind of going through the same process and doing it over and over again. I certainly have, which is saying something because I'm still a pretty slow painter when it comes down to it. Alright, so that is one coat on the boots, almost all done. Need to get the bottoms of these shoes. Which, oh man, I don't even know. Let's see, if we come in like this, put that at that angle, and then we just douse the lightning bolt in color as well. Blammo, we got the bottom of the foot. If we were in the Helldivers universe, that is what we call a acceptable level of sacrifice. What up, Will? Thanks, man. This is absolutely stolen from somebody in the Gamer Guild Discord who is rocked, who was showing an idea, and they're, I think, gonna go crazy with it and add some extra like shoulder pads and stuff. Let me see if I can pull up the reference again real quick. But the idea of adding the extra black in there and stuff really appealed to help modernize the costume just a little bit. Alright. But yeah, we're just we're going in, we're knocking out the base coats, because that's all my talent level will let me do on a stream anyway. And not necessarily just talent level at painting, but talent level at painting on stream is almost surprisingly an entirely different skill set. But have already been. I am using Two Thin Coats line, and starting with the Dark Sun Yellow for the yellow specifically. The green was Wyvern Green, and the black was just black. Nothing terribly fancy. At least I am painting something. That is true. It is good to have kind of reignited the painting passion a little bit with some foes and web warriors, which are all just coming from my favorite part of the Marvel Universe, which definitely helps kick that enthusiasm up to a level that actually results in me painting stuff. Alright, so we need to hit that, because we covered up a little bit of his arm pad lightning bolt as we laid the green in. I think it goes down a little bit. Comes across. Yeah, there we go. I may or may not have absolutely made a mistake trying to paint Electro of all pieces on stream, though. But I was excited to show off the alternate paint scheme that Fabu had found. Ben, you are an absolute monster and a champion. I need, as an extra source of motivation, probably, I need to put I need to print off the affiliation list and then just go through and take a check mark for each model I have painted to see how close I am on different affiliations, and like start going Dave Ramsey on it, to picking out which affiliations have the least number of models to fully paint it and go in and do it. Corey, take care, man. I will absolutely be sharing some photos once he is closer. And hopefully, I'll see you Thursday, and maybe you can face the wrath of Electro's ridiculous round one teleport to pass the middle of the board and just start zapping people. Yeah, 97%, for me at least, of painting a model is just getting started. Because last week I had every single bit of intention of waiting to finish Gwenum on stream today. Oh man, Electro and Brotherhood is probably also a really good idea. The team I've been playing more recently, yes, the combo synergy between Mags and him are stupid in the best ways. I'm probably going to start with Professor X's leadership from X-Men for him, because I already have a ton of ways to just have people move up the board and go for the kill, and it's a lot of these kind of... Psylocke's not a glass cannon, but a bunch of characters that are just going to move up and be such a threat that you cannot ignore them, because if you decide to go for like characters like Shuri or Wong or Professor X himself, who is not particularly durable once other characters have a little bit of power on them, having Electro in that lineup to help also give out some shock to shore up the tankiness of an otherwise fragile team of magic and stuff seems really good. The downside being, obviously, I cannot run both Shuri, Electro, and Wong and make the list work. However, I think it'll pan out still pretty well. Alright. Just getting in here with the yellow. And we'll very likely not have time to clean all of this up on stream or anything. But I feel like at this point, the idea of the costume is coming through very cleanly. And we'll hit it with this much brighter yellow that I kind of tested with. For all the lightning bits to really help sell the difference between the costume yellow and the lightning yellow. Because I was really unsure how I was going to try to manage a yellow lightning, because all the lightning I've done so far has been blue for like Storm, a little bit of stuff that I did with Thor's, and so it was kind of just like airbrush highlight stuff. So I was both extremely intimidated and a little bit excited to figure out how I wanted to do the yellow lightning. And since I'm guessing at this point we have some people who were not here at the start of the stream, talk a little bit about the process of picking that out. I just went through and had the lightning bolt. The front half of the lightning bolt was this kind of light gray that you see on the base still, and then I did the back in white. and went through and started messing with different colors, different ways to do the yellows, whether it was a fluorescent yellow versus a glaze that I put over it, versus even like trying blue, and how does that look with the different kinds of highlights. So it's kind of fun to go through and just kind of test on the model and figure out. But yeah, yellow costume with yellow lightning was in the same way. I don't think we're going to be getting anybody with a blue costume with blue lightning, because it's just one of those things that's a little bit awkward. And also, when he eventually gets here, Loki's going to have a very similar. Why don't you just focus? There we go. A very similar palette, because he's also kind of got some lightning-esque effects. So maybe I go with a green lightning for him instead. But just kind of have to figure out how that magic is going to work with his yellow and green costume. So Electro here is very much a good test subject for that as well. But I do think the black has added to his overall appearance quite nicely. Go ahead and hit these sections of black that I just outright missed really quick. Yeah, the black really helps sell the what the yellow is trying to do. Alright, and there's going to be plenty of cleanup, but that is my start on Max, the shockingly handsome ideas. Yeah, best. There are no original ideas. They're all stolen from somewhere else. Yada yada. Whatever excuse I need to make here. But that's all I've got today. I'll get off camera, get some more painting in today, and throw up the results on the Discord. You can find a link down to the Discord if you want to come join us, talk everything from apparently VeggieTales songs to models, gameplay, strategies, stuff like that. Man, he just does not want to focus up, do you? So come and do that. It's a fun place to hang out and chill. I don't know about that, Will, but I appreciate the sentiment to it. But yeah, thank you guys for coming in, checking out, hanging out during your lunch break or something like that. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of the day and a good week. And until next time.